Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That over there, in either here or there, maybe even down here, is Eric.
Hello.
And then the other spot will be taken up by the lovely Vanessa Williams, but not that Vanessa Williams.
Correct.
This Vanessa Williams.
This
That's
Vanessa
right.
Williams.
I am Kelly. You guys are surprised because I got on here and I was tired. I was like, I can't do anything. But now, shot out like a fucking cannonball.
Surprised and happy.
I had a weekend, you guys. We're doing this on Zoom because I went to a celebration of life. I said it was a funeral last week, but it was actually a celebration of life. And it was for my uncle, and it was for my very, very cool uncle, Dwayne. And I don't know what I expected, but I probably should have expected it to be a lot like a family reunion. I thought there'd be a little more order to it, but it was really just a group of people who haven't seen each other in many, many years. Some of my cousins I hadn't seen in 30 years.
Oh,
and it was really, really lovely to connect with everybody again, especially my cousin Joe, who was like my best friend when I was a young child because he lived in the area and we visited all the time. He was my cousin and my best friend, and we liked all the same stuff, mostly because of his dad who has passed away. But Joe then floored me. He reached out to me and said, "Are you coming to the celebration of life?" And I said, "Absolutely, I am. And I'm bringing you a copy of my novel." And he said, "I bought your novel on day one. I'm bringing it for you to autograph."
Excellent.
And I was like, wow. So then over the course of talking to him, he listens to the show. He gets his movie suggestions from us. He talked about you guys and how he stores them all up, and then he listens to them in big, huge chunks while he's doing long drives. And I was just blown away. So to my cousin Joe, thank you. And I hope you're enjoying the book. I signed a bunch of copies of the book. That was really neat, and got to see just a lot of people that I really miss, and I'm hoping that the next time we get together is not because someone has died.
Yeah.
That'd be ideal.
That's one of the neat things about Dina's family is they do regular family reunions.
Yeah.
For a while, it was like every 2 years without fail. It's spread out a little bit now because, the family of, God, I think they had 11 kids is now 3 of Marth's family. But it's still great because you get that chance to see people when there's not a tragic event happening.
This was so nice, Eric. You remember how it was at Roz's celebration of life, where there was a lot of people there, and people would get up and talk, right? Well, this was set up kind of in this backyard area, and it was just the immediate kids who started off the thing saying, because my uncle passed away during COVID, and then his wife only a couple years later, and none of us got to see them during all of this, and it was very sad and everything. And they started off saying they would hate this. They in fact said, "Please don't have a big memorial service for us or anything like that." And this is not for them. This is for us. Yep. And, the immediate kids then told a story, but we were all kind of gathered around in a big, huge semicircle, maybe 50 people, and they just kept it going. So everybody spoke.
Oh, that's great.
It was crazy. It was so neat. Really, really glad that I was able to do that. Really glad that they put something like that on, and I hope to see them all soon. And I know I'll be seeing my cousin Joe a little more often. We connected again and traded phone numbers, and so Joe, talking about you, buddy.
Hello, Joe.
With that in mind, I've seen a couple of movies that I will not put on my to-watch list for Joe.
Oh God. Oh dear.
I don't know why I thought I should watch the new Prime series Sausage Party: Foodtopia,
Really?
No.
but I watched
Why?
the first two episodes of it. And first of all, tell me who watched the movie Sausage Party and then said, "I gotta see more of this."
These are questions
Wa-
I have been asking all week long. Every time I see the banner, I'm like, why? Why?
Wasn't it a big flop?
I don't know if it was a
What?
big flop, but it was a shit film. And Seth Rogen is one of these guys where he'll either put out The Boys, Preacher, and the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or he'll put out Sausage Party and the next shitty thing, whatever that Christmas animated thing they did a couple years ago.
Oh
And I'm
God.
just like, God, you guys, it's always the same three guys, him and Evan
Yeah.
Goldberg and whoever their other third guy is. And it's either fucking brilliant or trash. I will say, spoiler, this falls in the trash category. Sasha's Party
Shocking.
Foodtopia can be found on Prime. I don't know how many episodes there are. I made it through 2 before I decided not for me.
Wow.
I'm good.
Man, yeah, I will be skipping that thoroughly. Um, well, I had a friend over this weekend, my best friend who traveled a nice 4-hour drive up to hang out with me because I was lonely. So, which is always good. And her favorite movie is Casablanca. And she only recently found out that I have never seen Casablanca. And she got
What is
very
that?
mad.
Is that even English? What is that word? Not familiar with this.
Oh, it's just like a little indie film from the 40s, 50s.
Sometime around
Um,
then.
Black and white, people talk fast. That's what they're all like back then. And yeah, she was furious because she was like, "You watch so much garbage."
Mm.
And
Yeah.
you haven't seen one of the like most famous important films of all time. So yeah, I've checked it out. It was a lot of fun. Austin and I started doing the uh Leonardo DiCaprio meme of like holding the glass and pointing every time there was something familiar on screen. So that happened about 20 times. Like play it again, Jam, and like anything that has gone into
Close.
public anyway. But yeah, it was great. It reminded me a lot of His Girl Friday. I loved is he Italian, the cop guy who is basically
Mm.
just meant to be keeping a thumb on everybody, but he was just like, I don't fucking care, this is
Claude
great.
Rains.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was phenomenal.
Mm.
I didn't care for the actual relationship between the two very much, but yeah, now I know. Now the mystery's gone.
I love this movie.
Yeah.
I was so thrilled, Eric, when we got to film school and on the syllabus was, you guys got to watch this because we're going to talk about it a lot. And I was like, no problem. I love watching this film.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of things. Did you guys hear about this? Was several years ago now, where some writer repackaged the Casablanca script with different names and then sent it out to studios, and it never made it past the first readers. They all thought it was garbage. And then, can you imagine if a film like that had been made today and was as big a hit? Then we'd get a prequel of why Rick,
Oh God.
why it couldn't work out between them and everything. What makes that film so great is that you don't know what happened. You just know it was fucking heartbreaking, and that's what makes their relationship so great in that movie.
Yeah.
Everybody should take a lesson from this. Vanessa, next on your list, another little indie called Citizen Kane. You're gonna be really impressed.
I actually saw that one.
What? Oh, okay.
Touch of Evil.
Listen, you should not be acting so proud of yourself.
No, I shouldn't. No, when I was in film school, I bought the 1001 films you must see before you die, and I was like penciling in and checking them off and stuff. So I have like a 50-50 shot of having seen something unbelievably famous or not, depending on like whether or not I was up to it that week or had accessibility to it. So meh.
There you go.
Would you say, having not seen Sausage Party Foodtopia, would you say that you saw a better film than I did this weekend?
I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
Okay.
rolling
Guaranteed.
the dice and say, but I like fast talking films that don't have a lot of locations. I loved His Girl Friday. I loved
Yeah.
Philadelphia Story. Like,
Maltese Falcon. It's
oh
another one of
yeah,
those.
just like when it's the personality and the energy and really good writing, I'm like, cool. I'm
Right.
I'm all in.
Yep.
We don't have to go fucking anywhere. I'll hang out with these people.
But anthropomorphic food stuff, not your thing, is what you're
I
saying.
don't like comedy.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
right.
there's that.
And I
If
don't like body humor.
I'm gonna guess,
So
if
a
you
film
liked
that's
comedy,
literally called Sausage Party is just about the absolute last thing I will ever choose to watch.
fair enough.
That's fair.
I won't push it any further.
Okay.
Thanks,
Well,
Kelly.
then I will take it in a different direction.
Okay.
Sort of. Boy Kills World.
Ooh,
You heard of this one?
I've heard of it, but I've not
That's-
seen it yet.
It's directed by Mortis Moore.
Yeah, the weird one.
It is
Is it super
interesting.
weird?
Well, it's his
Yeah.
first film, his first
Okay.
feature, I think.
Oh, it is.
But it's got Bill Skarsgård and Jessica Roth in it. And Skarsgård has been had his deafened by somebody. I don't know what the cause is when somebody forcibly takes your hearing. So his inner monologue, his speaking voice that you hear through the whole thing, is like one of the characters from Street Fighter. So it's very strange. This
Whoa.
is an odd little movie.
Hmm.
It's kind of reminiscent of the that 80s shit. Just blanked on the name of the 80s movie with the kid on the bike, Turbo Kid.
Oh,
Kind of reminiscent of that, where it's ultra violent, insanely violent, and it's just batshit crazy. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'll watch it again, but it was good enough that and Skarsgård is so much fun to watch that it's good enough that I can definitely recommend checking it out if you like Turbo Kid or Kick Ass or any of those over the top weird. It's kind of superhero-esque because he's so incredibly good at the martial arts he learned from the master in the woods who taught him everything he knows, kind of thing, who constantly beats the living shit out of him. But it's on Amazon, and I think it might still be rental. It's like a $3.99 rental. And if you like Turbo Kid, I'd say give it a shot because it's just ridiculous.
do you feel like this film? And I don't know why I'm asking this because
Give it a shot.
it probably has no bearing on it. But do you feel like this makes you feel more or less interested in Skarsgård as the Crow coming up?
Oh boy. From the little bit I've seen of The Crow, maybe even more disappointed because he's so physically good in this movie.
Well, I'm assuming he's going to be very physical in The Crow.
I would think so.
I just was like, I know that everybody seems a little disappointed in The Crow trailer, but if maybe he's showing up in an ultra-violent movie and having a good time, maybe that means he'll bring some kind of energy we weren't thinking about.
That could be good. I mean, the action stuff could be good in The Crow. I mean, the main thing missing from it seems to be what made the original Crow so good, which is the pathos, the horrible depression the guy's going through and what's going on.
Plus that fucking killer soundtrack. Come on.
Yes.
I was gonna say it's like
Yeah.
I feel like The Crow is a tough one because it's so firmly set in the 90s with like a Gen X vibe that like it's kind of like taking the soul of this like little strand of time and being like, I don't know, shove it over there. So I don't we'll see. Maybe it'll be
Yeah.
I mean, Skarsgård generally is good in whatever he's
Yeah.
in,
yeah.
but he's also in a lot of movies that aren't where he is the best thing in the movie. So it could be that again for him for The Crow.
I need a all Skarsgård movie with all of the brothers as like
Oh,
hillbillies. That one of them dies and the others have to go avenge him. You
There
know,
you
it's got to
go.
be a period piece in the Northwest. Something like
Maybe
that.
they could go against the Baldwins or something like that.
Oh my God. Yes.
oh my
Oh,
God.
you guys, I sent you. I just got to put this out to everybody. You
Sure.
guys have to start following Billy Baldwin on Instagram. He's gone fucking insane
Yeah.
and he's filming it all. I mean, it's sad, I guess, but it's also fucking hilarious. So,
Is this like
yeah.
Charlie Sheen all over again? Like,
Seems worse.
It does seem worse. It seems sadder because it's pretty
Yeah.
constant.
Yeah.
oh no.
It's closer to shit, what's his name? The guy from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. You know,
Yeah,
Shaders
it
Oh,
Full.
Chevy
is.
Chase? No.
No,
His the brother in that one.
right,
Oh,
right. Somebody's
can't
yelling
remember
at us right now.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Quaid,
Sorry folks.
Randy
Yeah.
Quaid.
Yeah, Randy Quaid. He is, it seems closer to that.
Hmm.
Sheen
Yeah,
always
he's
seemed like a combination of drugs and
yeah.
acting.
I mean,
Yeah.
ooh.
I mean,
Yeah, I
his
know.
was very
Sheen's
amusing though.
he was having fun.
Yeah.
He
I
was
don't
having a
think Billy
great
is
time.
having fun.
No.
Okay, speaking of not having fun, I watched In a Violent Nature.
Yeah, 2 for 2.
Yeah.
We'll surprise when you with this one for you, because isn't it like a slasher film?
Well, everyone kept telling me it's not your typical slasher film. And by that, what they meant is it's boring as fuck, except for every once in a while when the kill happens, which is sometimes like shocking. Some of the effects in this were amazing, but and this film has landed on a lot of people's favorites of the year so far, and I would say they are either stupid or lying. Um, this or just snobby. This is like an art house slasher film. One of my least favorite things to do is watch somebody play a video game, and most of this film is that. You're watching a third person slasher, except he's not slashing. He's just walking. So
Yeah.
you're over the shoulder of him walking through the woods a fucking lot. And I will say kudos to the filmmakers for finding a mask that is original and still somehow scary. That must be the last mask for a serial killer that they can. I'm not sure why this guy needed a mask. He's a zombie and he's pretty horrifying, but this was a cool thing. And there are scenes in it that I liked, and the backstory is
Hmm.
pretty cool. The problem is this is a gimmick film. It's a big fucking gimmick film. If you take the gimmick out and you just make this film, you've seen this film 9 times in the Jason franchise and 12, 13 times in the Halloween franchise. It's just a bulky serial killer, who can't be killed, going and killing everybody who's standing in his way. And so if it can't be turned into a regular film, it's not like, like Pulp Fiction is a gimmick film also, but if you were to string those all together, it still tells a pretty fun story.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you were to put those in linear time, you'd be like, oh, okay, I can see what's going on. If you put this in just a regular slasher movie thing, it's like, this is a boring film now with a couple of good kills. And so the only reason to watch it is a gimmick. It's an interesting gimmick. I would challenge anyone to tell me that, they got to watch this again and they can't wait for In a Violent Nature 2 or something like that. It just...
Yeah.
I thought it was a real snooze fest, except for every once in a while when the screaming started, and I looked up and it was like, oh, fuck yeah, he's pulling that chick's head through her stomach, which is something that happens, and it is something to be seen. But otherwise, big fucking thumbs down from me. In a Violent Nature is still a rental right now, but it's coming to Shudder. So, and I think it's coming to Shudder in like 4 weeks at the most. So.
Yeah, and okay. So with In a Violent Nature, I saw the trailer for it, and it felt like it is the gimmick that it happens in like real time with the like behind the shoulder, like just following him all the way through, or like
Not
what's
real
yeah.
time, but the story is told from the POV of the killer. So
Okay.
so you might see somebody, he's standing on one side of the lake while two people are having a conversation on the other side of the lake, and you can
Mhm.
barely hear them. You're not going to catch everything they're talking about, and it's going to be a 4-minute scene while he sits there and goes, and I was just like, "Ah, for fuck's sakes, can we just hurry this along and get to something? I would like to hear what these two girls who are about to go skinny dipping are talking about." Uh,
Plot somewhere there.
right. So it's just a lot of that stuff. And I'll say this: the people who like this movie are such hardcore horror fans that they've seen every fucking iteration of this story, and they're
Yeah.
glomming onto this because it's a little different. But
Yeah.
that does not make it good. So
That'll
Yeah.
happen.
yeah,
Huh. Okay. Well, I may or may not still check it out, but I have a feeling I will feel the same way as you when I am done with it.
your
Um,
mileage may vary.
Speaking
Yep.
of films that may or maybe should exist, maybe shouldn't, I checked out Quiet Place Day One.
Oh, I got to hear.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's kind of interesting take on the Quiet Place universe. I don't know why we need more films about the Quiet Place universe. But it's, like right when it happens in downtown New York, and you are uh in it with a character who has lost all love of life, and is terminally ill. And so the stakes are kind of weird because it doesn't matter if she dies, but like the people around her, and she has like a pet cat, and there's like just other things. You start to get stressed about the other people who are like traveling with her or connecting with her or trying to help her. And you're like, oh my God, don't don't risk your life. She's only gonna live for like however not much longer. Um, and I had a good time. It was a good ride. I think it was a pretty good film. I don't know that it added much to that whole thing for me, but I enjoyed the characters, and it has the guy who plays Eddie from Stranger Things, the most recent season,
Oh,
the guitar, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really fun to see him in like a new role. So that was cool. There's some good acting in there. And the cat is great. So,
Question.
uh-huh.
Oh, speaking of the
Yeah.
great cat, look at that cat.
Yeah.
Uh, do we get any more information about the aliens? I feel like that's the only way they can go with this to keep this series
I don't know what
interesting.
more information we really need.
Well,
Like,
what are they doing here?
oh, well that I don't I mean, I assume they just want our resources.
Well, but you don't know because we don't know why they are here and killing everybody.
It's a reiteration of certain things we already know about them. So you get to see more moments of the like their sensitivity to sound, how much it affects them, how water affects them. You kind of see some of those things like play out a little bit further. But I don't think you really get a better idea of why they're here. You do kind of get to see them like landing, and I think you can put together some extra threads, but it's not going to tell you any
Okay.
more about them. Well, actually, there's one additional thing where you get to see like they kind of built like a nest. So that was sort of neat, but it was just basically stealing from Alien. So I don't know.
Hmm. Okay. Another question.
Okay.
Cast your mind back to years ago when you and I both saw The Quiet Place 2 and we thought, what the fuck, this ending is kind of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And how come this third movie is not a fucking sequel to the second movie?
Okay, is the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy, the black actor, is he in the second one? I couldn't remember. Is he like
Oh,
one of the guys on the
I
island?
I don't. Oh man, now you're gonna. Yeah,
Because
I don't
like,
know. I don't think so.
oh, okay, because like they have that guy, and I was like, does he end up on the island in the second one? I feel like it's his like
There's
intro
some tie.
story.
Okay.
But no, I know. I have no idea why. I mean, maybe this is just what they could get the budget for, and nobody wanted to see the next one. People were like, I don't know, but we'll see how it all began. I think it'd be cool to see how it all began in all kinds of different places. And I feel like New York is just such an easy I don't know. It's such an easy get. It's something we've seen so many times in so many movies. I would love to see like one of them pop down in like a, I don't know, in freaking Utah, and like in
Right.
some campers be like, oh, what's this? And they have to like be quiet through a canyon. Like I don't know. I just want to see something a little bit. It's fun.
Tremors.
True.
Okay, A
There you
Quiet
go.
Place, day one.
Quiet Place Day One. And you can see it in movie theaters at this point.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, I caught Rose Glass's new film. The director of Saint Maud has made
Oh.
Love Lies Bleeding
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And
with Kristen Stewart and one of the more jacked women to be in film. Her girlfriend is a very muscle bound weightlifting powerlifter kind of, or bodybuilder kind of person. It's kind of it's a good movie. There's that after Pulp Fiction, there came this rush of like California with a K and all those kind of knockoff movies. This isn't exactly like that, but it would fit well into that idea of quirky characters in a small town going through some shit. And it's Kristen Stewart plays a woman who runs, or I think she owns the gym, the workout, where the one lady shows up one time to work out as a drifting from place to place, and abusive guys involved, and it's a good film. It's got a couple moments of some wow violence and pretty good acting. Have either of you seen this one?
I'm not,
I
but
saw it week or two ago. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And what did you think of it? Gets real weird.
Yeah, no. Oh,
It
the
gets
ending
really-
is extremely weird. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, we're watching the same movie. Is
Yeah,
this
I
a
had a
metaphor?
I had a moment where I was like, what is happening? So it
Yeah.
goes some weird fucking places, not in a bad way, but definitely like, okay, I thought it was one kind of film and it is not that film. It is a different kind of film, at least now.
Yeah.
But it did feel like in my mind it felt like a retelling of Frankenstein, which I
I
really
can see that.
enjoyed.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that.
oh
It's-
wow, this is not what I was expecting to hear.
No, yeah, it's very much like I mean, I don't want to give away any of the plot, but there are definitely a lot of elements in it where you watch something become monstrous and out of control, and
Yeah.
you're just like, blah, blah. But yeah, and it's got the running amok and almost like the villagers after it. I mean, it has like some of those beats in there.
Yeah, that's true. I will say, for some reason, the ending did pop out of my head until you mentioned that, but it is way out of left field. I
Mhm.
mean, way out of left field.
I think it
It's
is a
not-
metaphor, and then like the
it's
ending
gotta be.
is
It's just gotta be.
silly.
Otherwise, that is one crazy movie. As
Huh.
far if you wrap that,
Yeah,
a lot of
it
times
gets
people say,
really
"Oh, you won't see
A24 at
the
that
ending
point.
coming." If you figure out the ending of this one before, kudos.
Good job. You have seen more movies than me, if that's the case.
Wow.
Yeah.
Eric
Yeah.
said bodybuilder, but he meant a bodybuilder.
Hey, there you go.
Kind of. It's not exactly what I thought it was going to be, but I will
Yeah,
say that
no.
actress, oh my God, I
Is
looked
it
her up
Katie
right after.
O'Brien?
Yeah,
I think?
she was fucking incredible. The girlfriend, she just, I mean, you're like, who is this girl? She just knocks it out of the park. She's super watchable. I think their relationship is one of the better gay relationships I've seen on screen. Like,
Definitely,
Yeah.
it's definitely convoluted. It's
Mm.
it's impressive both what Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart have done with what made them famous versus the kind of movies they make now.
yeah.
And
Right.
they
Oh,
are
yeah.
both phenomenal performers. And yeah, that's one of the good things about the film is the performances are solid. It's really, really well done.
Yeah.
And not as depressing as Saint Maud.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
good.
so much better than Saint Maud. Oh my God, so much better than Saint Maud. Between the two, don't watch Saint Maud.
Hey,
Go watch
I
Love
wanna
Lies Bleeding.
I want to go to a break, but I want to give everybody a freebie. Eric, you mentioned that
Okay.
kind of weird Tarantino feeling movie that we used to get in
Oh,
the
yeah.
90s. I just watched a film on, I think it's on Prime right now. It's from 2016, and it is called Free Fire. Have you heard of this movie? It's got Brie Larson,
Oh,
Cillian Murphy, Sharlto
yeah.
Copley, Armie Hammer.
yeah,
Eh,
yep.
And it's definitely a throwback to that kind of film. Kind of a just extended shootout in a warehouse.
Oh, that's right. I may have to do this for a future episode.
Oh,
I
okay.
have
I
not seen it yet.
edit it all out.
No, go ahead. We've done
No,
that
I was
before.
just saying. I was just saying if you have a hankering for that kind of film again, this one I just stumbled upon and I was like, I've never even heard of this movie, and it's all-star cast and it was really fun.
Very cool.
It's definitely really fun. I watched it and I wasn't in the right mood for it, and I need to go back and see it again because I was like, I just wasn't connecting with it. But I know it's an awesome film. I know it is. It has a great cast, has a great setup. But yeah,
It's got some comedy in it. That's probably what was
it
throwing you
does.
off.
That's exactly what happened. I was like, oh no, they're making me giggle.
Kill List and line you up for a comedy from this guy, from that director. Was it
I keep
Ben
trying.
Wheatley?
Yeah,
Ben
he
Wheatley.
did Kill List also.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
God, that's a film I'm dying to finish, but every time I start, I fall asleep. So
It's hard. It's a hard one to get through. Not gonna lie.
There's
everyone-
not a lot that happens in it, but the ending is where everything happens.
It's worth
That's-
getting to the
yeah.
end. If
Yeah,
you can
that's what
just
I've heard.
set an alarm like, at about 20-30 minutes before the end, you won't have missed much. It's okay. You
Okay.
can just watch the end.
What about this? Can I fast forward to the end? Do I
You
have
can
to
watch
actually
it in
take a nap?
1.5. Just watch it in
Okay.
1.5. Because then you'll still get the
Um,
audio.
Let's continue this conversation off the air while we take a break. And then when we come back, we are talking Toho films.
Yeah.
The Shogun Warriors. Guy King with rocket boosters. Great Mazinga with rocket launcher.
Look, it's Godzilla!
Is he friend or foe? You can decide.
Wow!
Launch his claw. Imagine his breath is a blast of fire.
Good warning!
The large Shogun Warriors and Godzilla. They're ready to strike when you are. The Shogun Warriors, Great Mazinga, Guy King, and Godzilla, each sold separately. Accessories not for use with smaller Shogun Warriors from Mattel.
We have returned, as far as you guys know. We may never have left. That's the magic of podcasting. This was my subgenre, and it was the films of Toho with a caveat. Could not be any Godzilla films in there, which, of course, is what most of us know Toho from. However, you
Oh
guys,
no.
I want this to be like a regular thing. I picked a movie that I think might be my favorite Toho movie of all time now.
Oh, wow.
Oh snap.
Yeah. And that is from 1963, Matango.
Seven young people shipwrecked on a mysterious island. The island was deserted. Not even birds or animals dared to come here. What did they find?
Hey! Hey!
Seaweed, fish, and turtle's eggs. Anything we can eat, as well as snakes and lizards.
Just let me finish. There's a lot of grass growing around here. You can eat the roots. You can eat the roots of a lot of plants here. Never thought of that, did you?
They were driven to the edge of starvation. Food was scarce, and they were forbidden to eat the mushrooms that grew on the island. Fear and hunger turned them against each other.
I'll kill you.
Matango will help me live.
I haven't been hungry since I left the ship.
Mamie. Oh, help me. Help me.
Please. Can't we eat the mushrooms now?
That would really be the end of us.
Akiko!
Look out! Oh, look out!
Matango, the horrible mushrooms. Matango, the vegetable monster. Can they escape the dreaded Matango? You'll find out when you see Matango.
Don't know it.
No,
Don't
no.
know it.
Also known as Attack of the Mushroom People.
I know that
No.
title, but I have not seen it. No.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I found no budget or box office information. The Rotten Tomato critics, not available for some reason. The audience has it at
Hey.
65%. Directed by Ishiro Honda, who has 79 credits, including Godzilla, The Mysterians, Mothra, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, Destroy All Monsters, and then like a original material credit on every Godzilla movie since he did the first one and all that stuff. Written by, okay, let me see if I can read my writing. Takeshi Kimura, Shinichi Hoshi, and Masami Fukushima, who together have written things like Rodan, King Kong Escapes, Terror Beneath the Sea, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, starring, oh fuck, I didn't bring the timer in or anything. God damn it, you guys. What good are you for anything? Shit. 2 hours later.
So you've
Who
gone
does quality control on this show?
3
I put
minutes?
8 minutes on there.
Excellent. I was gonna say it was about 2 minutes of.
Yeah, that
Okay.
sounds about right.
So, sorry, Akira Kubo, who stars in this. He has 131 credits, including Gorath, Invasion of Astro Monster, Son of Godzilla, Zatoichi, and 47 Ronin, the original. Kumi Mizuno, who has 129 credits, including The Gambling Samurai, Frankenstein vs. Baragon, which I spoke about a couple months ago, Abira, The Horror of the Deep, and Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. And Hiroshi Koizumi, who has 120 credits, including Godzilla Raids Again, Gigantus the Fire Monster, and Godzilla Tokyo SOS. Also in this, Kenji Sahara, Hiroshi Tachikawa, Yoshiro Tsuchiya, and Miki Yashiro. You guys, Matango is so good. I'm gonna go over on this one. I loved it so much. Our opening scene is a man with his back to us who is a psychology professor named Kenji, who is going to narrate the events that have led him to this moment. We are not shown his face, so we can assume that there's going to be a nice reveal at the end of this flick. Also, this scene, guys, the lighting, the photography, the colors, it's fucking astounding. He's got a room with a view of what I can only assume is 1963 Tokyo at night, and it is just amazing. It's gorgeous. So he proceeds to tell us a tale of how he is the sole survivor of his party that were on a lovely little yacht that was lost at sea, and the rest of this movie is his flashback. His party consists of a wealthy industrialist, Kasai, his hired skipper, Sakuda, who is Sakuda, he's got a shipmate. There's a celebrity writer, a nightclub singer, the professor and Marianne, and suddenly a storm arrives, causing the yacht to nearly capsize. You could say the tiny ship was tossed. And sustained some pretty severe damage. And after the storm has passed, it just kind of drifts uncontrollably, finally bringing the group to a seemingly deserted island. They begin to explore and finally find a pond full of fresh rainwater, which is good, and a forest that is populated by what appears to be unusually large mushrooms. As they cross the island, they come upon a wrecked ship on the shore, the interior of which is completely covered with a mysterious mold. Murai, who is the professor, he reads the ship's log and warns them not to eat the mushrooms because they might be poisonous, since the former crew has disappeared and talked about hallucinations. They realize that the mold is killed by cleaning products, though, so they get to work cleaning the ship It can't be used to escape the island or anything. It's in too bad a shape for that, but it does provide a much bigger living quarters for everyone. And in short order, they begin to suspect that the ship was connected to nuclear tests, with the resultant fallout forcing a bizarre mutation on various organisms native to the surrounding area, including the mushrooms. The skipper agrees to fuck off and try to find help in the damaged yacht. So he's like, I'm probably going to die at sea, but it's our best bet. But the rest of the group's supply of food is running low. Kasai refuses to help find a way off the island and insists on living in the captain's quarters alone. And one night, as he is stealing from their very small food supply, he is attacked by a very grotesque-looking man that we don't know, who promptly disappears as soon as the rest of the group show up. Excuse me. The writer, who is also a drunk, and I feel particularly triggered and targeted, decides he's going to eat the mushrooms for their hallucinogenic properties, also very upsetting to me, and then pulls a gun and declares his intent to have his way with the women after he murders the other men, but he is subdued and locked away. All of this has literally happened to me at one time or another, just not in the same weekend. Eventually, the writer and the nightclub singer are banished from the boat after a failed attempt to steal the food that results in the death of the shipmate. What will become of them, you ask? Well, Kasai, the Thurston Howell of the group, he's eventually seduced by the nightclub singer and follows her into the jungle where the rain has caused a massive amount of fungal growth. And he realizes that the writer and the singer have been living off the mushrooms, with only the very small problem of actually being turned into mushrooms themselves as the only negative impact of this. Also turns out that the mushrooms are so fucking delicious that if you take even one bite, you are instantly addicted to them. Finally, Mirai, remember our narrator, he sees the old damaged yacht has come back, but when he swims out to it, it is deserted, with the skipper leaving a note saying everyone was dead and that he will be joining them soon. But when he returns to the ship that they've been living on, the mushroom creatures have attacked and kidnapped the young female student, who is basically Marianne. Will the professor be able to sneak into the jungle and rescue Marianne? Or will he find out that Marianne is now succumbing to the fungal creatures herself and be forced to flee without her? Will he have to escape in the damaged yacht and just hope he will somehow be saved at sea? Well, the movie started with him in a room telling his story and how he is the sole survivor, so chances that all those questions will be answered with a yes seems pretty fucking high. But what will we see when he turns and finally reveals his face? That is probably something you won't be able to guess unless you are not a horror fan and are under the age of 8. I fucking loved this movie so hard. It's better than most of the Godzilla movies, but it's also treated with a much different tone than the Godzilla movies were, especially after the first two. It was amazing. Everyone go out and watch Matango. It does suffer from the Gilligan's Island problem of why the fuck was there a millionaire, a professor, a movie star, and a young country girl all on this chartered boat? Why would they ever have anything to do with each other? Who cares? Not important. I have trivia. Okay. This movie is based on a famous William Hope Hodgson story titled The Voice in the Night, first published in 1907. It's actually pretty faithful to the story, except it adds several more characters. It is also said to be a partial adaptation of Fungus Isle by Philip M. Fisher Jr., and I'm not familiar with that story or that writer. The film was nearly banned in Japan because some of the makeup resembled the facial disfigurement characteristics of the victims of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Ishiro Honda, the director, reflected on the film decades after its initial release, stating that it was a comment on the rebel era in which people were becoming addicted to drugs. This is Tim talking. Once you get addicted, it is a hopeless situation. He added that no matter how good friends people are, even if they're the very best of friends, under certain conditions, things can get very ugly. Director Steven Soderbergh stated he had wanted to make a remake, describing it as a film that he watched as a child that, quote, scared the shit out of me. He was unable to reach a deal with Toho, so the remake did not happen. And then, aside from the two short stories this film adapts, director Ishiro Honda was inspired by a story in the Japanese newspaper headlines concerning thrill-seeking rich kids who took their father's yacht out to sea and had to be rescued. The early drafts of the script originally made this story more explicit by featuring characters who were spoiled young sons of the Japanese upper class. As Honda described it, quote, Around this time, there were people who started to be Americanized. There were people who started to be Americanized or have a modern lifestyle. There were rich people who sent their kids to school in foreign cars, that kind of thing. We tried to show that social background in this film, unquote. And finally, the name Matango comes from Matango.
Oh.
It would have been
Cool.
better if I had written a little bit more on that piece of trivia, but I did not, and so I don't remember what Matango actually means. I believe that's the mushroom. Matango. I had to rent this, but I'm going to fucking go out and buy it. I hope there's a lovely Criterion release or something like that. Oh, it was so good. Whatever films you guys chose are going to pale in comparison.
Damn.
Vanessa?
That is such a cool pick.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay. We're talking about mine still?
No, it's fine. I'll start. It's okay.
Well, no, I mean, okay, I'll put it back to 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's a cool sounding film. It shares a lot in common with mine, actually, which is very exciting. This is a Toho, I think, is a very, very cool choice, actually. I ended up having a really hard time choosing. I had like 25 different films, and then like I ran out of time to watch some, and I couldn't find others, and some I was like, oh no, maybe I'll watch this for another time, another topic. But I ended up with randomly finding a film called Space Amoeba from 1970, aka Yog, Monster from Space.
From the remote areas of outer space, a creature lands on Earth. This fearful creature becomes a monster. Terrifying monsters. An octopus. A giant crab. A huge lizard. They're beautiful, aren't they? A group of brave people face these monsters. A daring photographer, a beautiful girl, a biologist, and a guy who does everything wrong as an industrial spy. These monsters appear to be overwhelmingly superior to their human enemies. Will these brave people be able to destroy the monsters? Come and see this exciting and terrifying battle for survival.
I've never seen this and want to see this.
Oh, I think based off of your review, you will like this one very much.
Okay.
It's also called Gazora Ganame Kamiba Kasen Nankai no Daikaju. I don't know what any of that means. It has a Rotten Tomato score of 37% from audience, nothing from critics.
Wow.
Bummer. Budget, box office, no idea. Could not find. Directed by Ishiro Honda.
Hey.
79 credits. Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters. He actually did the second unit directing for Ron. So that's cool. Written by E. Ogawa, who has 60 credits, including Evil of Dracula, Lake of Dracula, The Vampire Doll, and Interpol Code 8. Starring Akira Kudo as Taro Kudo. 131 credits. So same star. destroy all monsters, son of Godzilla, etc. Also in this is Yoshio Tsuchiya as the Doctor. 107 credits, including Seven Samurai, Yojimbo, High and Low, and the Hidden Fortress.
Wow.
Kenji Sahara as Obato. 124 credits, including Godzilla, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 1 and 2, King Kong versus Godzilla, Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, Mothra, and some Ultraman stuff. It was in a ton of stuff. It was just amazing how many verses. The story of this is, I was kind of intrigued because it sounded almost like The Thing or Alien to an extent. But I'll get there. We start with the launch of Helios 7, an unmanned rocket on its way to Jupiter to gather info, find out more about the planet, and it's set out on a 3-year voyage. We see as it goes through space that some blue glitter, space pores maybe, infiltrate it, and it stops in space and turns around and heads in a new direction. We then jump over to a photographer named Kudo is on a plane. He's bored and reading about the missing spacecraft, which has now been gone for 4 months. While looking out the window, he then sees parts of the craft fly into the sea over the South Pacific and is like, he tries to take some pictures, but it's too late. He then goes to his newspaper office, but they just laugh him out of the room. They're like, yeah, okay, prove it. That sounds very far-fetched. So he leaves in a huff, and a woman chases after him and says, hey, I actually want to hire you for a job. It turns out that there's a vacation company that wishes to build a resort on a small island called Selga Island, which currently just has some native peoples on it who apparently are a-okay with a giant resort coming in. They want to, it'll be great. They want to hire him to go and take interesting photos of the island, which they can use to sell vacations there. He refuses at first, but then a doctor enters, and it turns out to be a dude he knows. And he says that this submarine hotel that they want to build comes with the additional interesting fact that maybe the island holds monsters and has rumored to do just that. Also turns out that Kudos happened to that this little island is exactly where the spacecraft landed. So he's like, maybe I will go. There is a price I would be paid to go to this place after all. So the woman, the doctor, and Kudo all take off on a cruise ship for the island. Along the way, they run into an anthropologist who is annoying and really weirdly cocky and disinterested in anthropology. He sneaks himself into their group and invites himself to travel and stay with them. Meanwhile, some fishermen on the island discover a giant squid that comes out and eats one of them. Its tentacles are colder than ice and leaves frostbite. The natives on the island believe that this creature is part of their ancient belief system, a creature named Gizora. They worry that the resort builders will bring bad luck and no one wants to help them when they arrive on the island. Of course, the squid comes back, sometimes in water, sometimes flying around on land, crashing through huts, hurting people. And when they discover its weakness, and kill it, a strange blue sparkle leaves it and goes into a crab that becomes a giant monster. Then they have to fight the giant crab monster, and believe it or not, when the giant crab monster dies, the blue sparkles come out and go to new things. So this continues until, of course, it finally reaches man. Turns out that the creature the alien has ill intent for the human race and will stop at nothing to take over the planet. Will the doctor figure out the space alien dust and its intent long before he should? Will he also figure out its only weakness based off of 2 totally random things he saw, including dolphins and bats, thus stating that he has enough scientific proof based off of his 2 pieces of information to know what to do? Will the group use sound waves to disorient the monsters, which then cause them to fight one another and land in an active volcano? And will the alien ultimately fail because despite taking over all of human cells, it cannot take over man's soul? Tune into Criterion Channel to find out. So this is a silly, fucking movie. This is a silly, silly movie. But I think it might have been shot on Kodak. It has beautiful bright colors. It is just, oh my God, it's oozing with like just delightful imagery. It has a great mix of location shooting, matte paintings, animated sections, models, puppets, and it makes a really big adventure feeling to it. You never feel like they're limited by budget. Their space rocket that takes off at the start, I was like, this has to be a model, but this looks really good. And I'm like in the plot with it. So that's okay. The characters are super, super one-dimensional, but the actors are playing the hell out of them. And they're having such a good time that you're sort of on board. And they have such great lines as life on Earth is so boring sometimes.
Fuck.
Don't worry, it won't be for long. The only bummer is they do over-explain the plot a lot. Like if something happens and they say it and they say it, it's like for every time. So that's a little frustrating. The alien in this is hella ballsy. He don't give a fuck. He's not going to be subtle at all. Like as soon as they figure him out, he's like, behold, I am here to take you over. Just bow before me, humans. Like he does not even care, which is great. The monsters are really, really wacky, but also incredible. I love the puppetry. I love the way it makes them move. Their eyes are weird and dead, but that's okay. And ultimately it's an hour and 20 minutes that's really easy to sit through and enjoy. So I was like, fuck, okay, I am in. This is awesome. Little bit of trivia. E. Ogawa wrote the script for this in 1966 under the title Great Monster Assault. The script was considerably more ambitious than the finished product, featuring alien monsters invading the Earth and submerging entire continents. Despite his failing health, Toho's longtime special effects director, Ijai Tsuburaya, expressed his desire to be involved in the production and, as such, was to be credited as the film's special effects supervisor. And his former pupil acted as the director of special effects. However, he died just 2 days after the start of filming. So both Arikawa and director Ishiro Honda wanted to include a dedication to him, but Toho refused. Arikawa was so disgusted that he vowed to never work for Toho again. And director Honda likewise decided to retire from filmmaking due to his disappointment with the direction Toho took with the special effects films and his dissatisfaction of working for them. So retire from Toho. He did come back for one film many years later. Yeah, and assistant director remarked that Space Amoeba was burdened by a constant pressure from the studio to minimize budget. As a result, the staff was forced to rush through filming. They originally planned to film in Guam, but instead they ended up at Hichijo Island, about 700 miles south of Tokyo. It was shot in the middle of winter, so even though the cast is dressed for tropical location, it is not tropical. The underwater scenes were shot in Toho's studio pools, and the producer Fumio Tanaka recalled that he had to personally transport the film negatives back to Tokyo on a prop plane. The lighted eyes on the monster Gazora went dead halfway through filming the special effects, and there was no money left in the budget to repair them, so they remained unlit for many other scenes. This was the last science fiction film made under Toho's studio system. Facing declining profits, they reduced this, basically. They got rid of it, so.
What year was this again?
This was 1970.
1970. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty late in there, happening there.
That definitely sounds like a movie I have to watch. How did you watch this?
Yeah.
I had recently unsubscribed from Criterion because I was like, I never watched this. And then I was like, fuck, it's only on Criterion. I will resubscribe. So I paid all of what, $11 or something for a month of Criterion.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, that sounds great.
Yeah.
It was super fun. Super fun.
Eric?
Yes.
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
I think mine's probably the best known of this group, but I've always wanted to watch The War of the Gargantuans.
Yes, this is Dr. Stewart speaking.
We need your help. Sir, you've studied giant animals. You had one in captivity, didn't you?
Yes, that was 5 years ago. You know, he might have been a young species of a gargantua.
Attention! All aircraft are to turn away! An alert! An alert! This is Tokyo Tower! Don't land!
Headed northwest and has reached this point. We will move headquarters out to the field immediately.
Let him have it. Hey, look! Another one! What's the matter?
The giant! Get back to the car.
Send all defense units to the beaches.
Yes.
Ooh.
1966. Again, no critic score, which what is with these movies having no critic scores?
No one's seen
And
them.
hey, it's a little bit better than yours, I guess, Kelly, because it's 66. from the crowd.
This is a good movie.
Yeah. Box office was, they said around 3 million, but who knows? Available on Tubi, Max, and Criterion.
Nice.
Gotta love that. This was directed by, can you guess?
Is it Ishiro Honda?
Honda?
Yeah. Ishiro Honda, director of, a whole bunch of shit that you know already. He was also an AD for Dreams, Kurosawa's film.
Oh.
With 79 directing credits total. Ruben Borkovich, who's, the white guy in the movie for English sales. He was in Bonanza, Hell in the Pacific, and Out of Season. Sorry, that was the writer, one of the writers.
Oh, that was the writer. Okay.
Yeah. And he probably came in to help write the translations, I'm guessing, maybe. Other writer is Ishiro Honda. We know about him. And Takashi Kimura, who wrote the great sounding name Daredevil in the Castle, which I'm guessing isn't the Marvel character. The actor, though, that was for U.S. sales was Russ Tamblyn, who's in 6 episodes of Twin Peaks, Drive, 16 episodes of the original Twin Peaks. Sorry, 6 episodes of 2017 Twin Peaks. The Haunting, West Side Story, whole bunch of films.
Yeah.
Kimi Mizuna is in there. She's best known for the Invasion of the Astros monsters. I don't know what she's best known for. But she's also in Frankenstein versus Baragon, which has some impact on this film.
Yes.
And 128 credits overall. I dropped one of the other people, but whoever that was, he's over there, so don't worry about him. 123 credits. He's in All Monsters, Attack, Destroy All Monsters, and Mothra. So this is a Criterion release, so is fully remastered by them and looks freaking amazing. I love, and I'm sure all of us movies had this, just the over-the-top, huge, crashing, dramatic music to go over the credits, which is just as big as music can get for these kind of films. And hey, if you want to go twist a little bit, there's a little Lovecraft creature in the beginning of this. Why? Because tentacles.
Oh.
So it must be Lovecraft, right? It's actually a giant octopus with cool red glowing eyes that attacks this boat. And just when it seems like the boat has lost all hope, one of these giant kind of man-looking creatures with a great, almost Beatles-looking hairdo attacks and takes out the octopus, but then proceeds to beat the crap out of the boat too. In actually a really cool looking scene. I mean, we all know the effects of this film. We're not expecting Jurassic Park here or something. So you see this guy grabbing this toy boat and just thrashing it all over the place, water everywhere. It's a lot of fun. So there's a speculation. They go to the scientists and go, "Is this your Frankenstein creature?" And of course, the scientists say, "No, this is not the Frankenstein creature as you know them from Frankenstein versus Baragon." And they do this weird little flashback where the female scientist is hanging out with like a 3-foot tall version of the gargantuans, having a fun time, like feeding it and hanging out. And it's such a sweet creature. It just loves me. So they decide they've got to go out and investigate to see why this creature is suddenly attacking, because they know it can't possibly be their Frankenstein creature. Spotted on land for the first time, and it's glorious. It's this amazing scene around an airport with ridiculous green screen and horrible scaling of the size of the creature versus the airport, where at times he looks big and other times he looks like bigger than Godzilla. It's great. I love it. The creature attacks the airport, and we get to see a nice little shot of a Pan Am Airlines.
Lovely.
Wonderful. They figure out light hurts this creature, so they try to do that for a while, and then the creature figures out that light means food, so they have to abandon that quickly. There's great little bits that I am so thankful for Criterion when they remastered this, that they did not remove the wires holding the helicopters around. It's like that could have easily been removed, but no, keep it the way it was, man. It looks great. But at one point, suddenly there's a second gargantuan. When he first appears, it kind of seems like they're buddies. You know, it seems almost like depending on where in the movie, it's called brown, but I also read places that called it orange. But it kind of feels like the orange-brown gargantuan is rescuing the green one. But then later they proceed to beat the snot out of each other, so I guess not. The green one is known as Gaera, and the orange one is known as Sanda. Not that they're ever called that in the movie. So the film was originally announced as the Frankenstein brothers, then the two Frankensteins, then Frankenstein versus Frankenstein, then Frankenstein's decisive battle, and Frankenstein's fight. Originally, then they had War of the Gargantuans. So I guess they decided they didn't want to do the Frankenstein thing anymore. So it is kind of a loose sequel to that. However, when it was dubbed for the American version, all references to that Frankenstein film were removed. So if you just watch the American dubbed film, you wouldn't know it had any connection. And the fact, for whatever reason, to remove it, because you still got the scientist saying this Frankenstein, it's very weird. But oh well, who cares? It's a Toho film. It's what it is. During the process of dubbing the film for the American audience, Russ's audio track was completely lost, meaning he had to redub all his lines, and which might explain why, and watching this, it's true. He's kind of disinterested throughout and not really knowing what's going on due to improvising much of the dialogue. So he didn't even try to loop it, based on like trying to lip read himself for the lines. He just made up what he wanted to say, and it's obvious because never is matching. So he tried to do memories and sort of figuring out what he was saying, but basically he re-improved the rest of his, most of his lines. The man who played many, Hiro Nakajima, who played many Toho monsters, including Godzilla in 11 movies of the original 15 films, he said Gaira, the evil green gargantuan, was one of his favorite he ever got to play because the costume is basically human. And he could use his own eyes to see where everything was. And, I believe him because watching the green guy, he is having a ball wrecking things and throwing things around and being able you can tell can target things, which, Godzilla often randomly just hits shit. you could tell he was, I'm going to step on this car. I'm going to step
Right.
on this car. That is just, is a lot of fun. Although I'm guessing they spent a lot of time in the water, so there's a lot of hair on that thing. That must have been kind of gross. Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated did a version of this movie.
What?
Battle of the Humungonauts.
Oh.
They even incorporated the song that's sung in the middle of the film, which is not the greatest song, but boy, it's catchy. But they use that in there, and I now must find this episode. I thought I'd
No
watched
kidding.
most of these because this is a great series.
Yeah.
One of the best Scooby-Doo series. Sorry, original lovers. Let's see what else we got here. Where was it? Oh, Guillermo del Toro said that he used part of this film in inspiration for the openings of Pacific Rim.
Nice.
Brad Pitt said this is the first film he ever remembers watching, ever. And many guys, who else? Quentin Tarantino and Tim Burton and all that, name this as one of their favorites. And it's a hell of a lot of fun. So it's not the two you were talking about, especially yours, Kelly, were pretty unique Toho sounding. This is basically Godzilla with different costumes. But,
right. It's strange that they got that Frankenstein license and went this way with it.
Yeah, exactly. Never mind.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we do a certain thing, and we're going to do that with Frankenstein now, too.
That's right.
I love this movie.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to write and draw my own comics. I staple them together and all this shit. And I loved the idea. I loved the name of the Gargantua so much. And I lived up in Bellingham, Washington, the Pacific Northwest, and I wanted some kind of weird local creature, but I wanted it to be scarier than Sasquatch, and so I called it the Saskatchewa.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, this is a movie that is near and dear to my heart. And I gotta say, both of your movies, sound great. My movie was great. I'm just like, fuck, I'm going to go on a Toho tear now. I'm going to do Eric doing Walter Hill thing with Toho for the next several weeks.
It's going to take a lot longer.
Busy.
And
yeah, because they got into everything. It's kind of like Hammer, doing noir and mystery and crime and all that stuff on top of it.
And a lot of Pokemon.
Oh, really?
Oh, did Toho do a lot of Pokemon?
You may want to limit. Yeah, they
Oh,
ended up
boy.
doing a lot of Pokemon. They actually are behind Detective Pikachu. So
Toho is?
yeah,
Well, wait a second. I heard that was a good movie. I never watched
it's
it. But...
so good.
It
Oh,
is,
boy.
actually. It is a lot
It's
of
an
fun.
incredible film. You
And
don't have to
just-
like
Vanessa,
Pokemon for it.
For full respect, Kenji Sahara was the name I missed.
Oh, yes. Also an actor in my film.
Yeah.
Vanessa, I'm surprised you didn't do Detective Pikachu for your film.
I was so close. You don't even know, especially when like things kept falling through, and I was like, I'm gonna do this one, and I couldn't find it, and then I was like, I'm gonna do this one, and I was like, it's 3 hours, and it's already midnight. And like, yeah, I was like, I should just do Detective Pikachu. I was like, no. They always say I go with the most mainstream movies. I'm gonna find a little one. Dang it, and I did.
Well done. Yeah.
Yeah, very nicely done. I will just tell you guys and the listeners, this is a topic that I will revisit when I'm out of topics. I'm going to be like, oh, it's Toho movies again, you guys. So
Yeah,
You don't even have to wait that long. Because there's not a month that begins with T. So, damn.
Wait a second. No Tovember.
That would be better. I would do that.
You don't want to do this?
No to November.
Speaking of people who have the next subgenre, Vanessa, you have the next pick.
Yes, I do. That's right. Well, There was a film that I came across not too long ago that I got really excited about watching. So I am going to steal some of the plot from it and force you guys to watch movies that take place in the woods.
Oh.
Into the woods.
This is no pun
Not into
intended.
the woods.
Fertile ground for many
Yes.
horror films. So,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
there anything off the table?
I don't think so. I mean, like, not
What are the
my
odds we pick a Friday the 13th or something? So,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's a
go further.
and find something that you really enjoy. I mean, like, yeah, it would kind of suck to only do like a Friday the 13th movie or, but that's, if that's what you find and your heart sings for, God forbid I stop you,
I'll put it out there. No Friday the 13th movies, because at some point I want us to start picking like franchises.
Yeah.
So we'll have to
It would
all pick a
overlap.
Friday the 13th movie at some point.
Yeah.
So,
that's fine.
okay, I love this. Into the Woods. That's fantastic. Okay, that means that we're at the end of the show. We are here to say thanks to everybody who's out there liking and sharing posts, who's reaching out through various means. Ron, I'm talking to you, sending us all the weird fucking videos you're watching lately. I really appreciate that. And everybody, Danny, and help me out here. Who am I?
Danny
been
and
drinking, you
Bob and
Bob,
Gretchen
of course.
And,
Micah.
few new people showing up.
All the
Yes,
all the
who-
usuals
who-
and all the news.
Thank you, Vanessa. That is a perfect way to put that. They're showing up on places such as the Strange Eons Radio Talk page on Facebook, which is getting a lot of a fun discussion going on there. A bunch of like-minded individuals who just love horror and all that shit. Very rarely they are calling into the Strange Eons Radio hotline, which is 253-237-4266. Why don't you give us a call? Tell us how much you love Vanessa. Tell us how much you love Eric. Or,
And Kelly too.
Good.
Right. Especially the people who feel like they need to support the show in some kind of financial way. Wow, what a joy that is to see that kind of stuff coming in. You can do that in a bunch of different ways. You can do that in a sustaining donation on PayPal. You can buy us a coffee on the website, which is buy us a pizza on our site. You can do all sorts of things that you decide how much you want to invest into this thing. We call it value for value. It means that whatever value you get out of this, you decide. You put a monetary amount on that, you send it our way.
Right. Give a shout out to Jason Weiss, who generally does a monthly thing. Apparently he fell behind because he sent us a nice little chunk and said, "Man, I'm behind." Well, you're caught up, sir. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Jason, let's have drinks, Jason.
There you go.
I love Jason. That's it. We're coming back in 7 short days. We are talking movies that take place in the woods. See you next Thursday. Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, if you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
She was furious because she was like, "You watch so much garbage."